Welcome to Stitching with Cindy Botts. Today's project is a wall hanging. It has 4 blocks to it, and each block features 3 hearts going from a small one in the center to a medium and to a large to create the block. It's a heart inside a heart inside a heart. All right, so I chose 4 colors, 3 main colors and 1 background color. It's photographing as a white, but it really is a very light tan. And in the center we have this checkered green, then the orange, and then this orange and green pattern. And I really like how it's coming together. It is a 12.5-inch block before you put this 1.5-inch sashing on, and then this is a 2-inch sashing border, whatever you may want to call it, and then this outside border is also 1.5, and I'm going to bind it with the orange also. So let's get started talking about how to put this block together. So I am gonna do a hover over my notes for a minute. I don't know if you can take a screenshot of that or freeze your device on it so that you can copy down some measurements and the plan. This is something that I worked up on the graph paper, and I'm going to talk you through, but I don't know how to do an attachment into my videos, so unfortunately you can pause your video and write some things down, or screenshot it and maybe print it. So here we go. We're going to start with the center. Now this center block, this A, is color 1, which is the green, and it is a 2.5-inch square. This is color 2, this orange, and it is a 1.5-inch square. And you simply lay the square on top and stitch diagonal, just as if you were doing a flying geese, except you're just doing it on the top of the square instead of on the whole width of the rectangle. All right, and then you just trim that down, lay the other square on, sew the diagonal at the 1/4-inch seam, and press it back. And that's how you get that center unit. All right. Then also in this orange fabric 2, we have another 2.5-inch square, and that is sewn to this unit. All right, and that gives you this nice rectangle. Now to make the point of the orange square, this is a flying geese unit. The orange rectangle is a 4.5 by 2.5-inch piece. The color here, the third color, the I don't know if you want to call it floral, it does have some flowers and checks in it. That is a 2.5-inch square that is laid on the rectangle, sewn on the diagonal, trimmed and pressed back to make the flying geese on both sides. All right, so measurement wise, we're doing really good. We have a 2.5-inch square, another 2.5-inch square, a 4.5 by 2.5-inch rectangle, and 2.5-inch squares. So I tried to keep the measurements pretty accurate, not accurate, repetitive, trying to make it fit nice. So you have another rectangle and square unit here, again the 4.5 by 2.5 with the 2.5-inch squares to make another flying geese. So those are identical for cutting directions, but you just switch the colors using that third color and the fourth color, the background color. Now to make the side here, this again is a 4.5 by 2.5, rectangle and a 2.5-inch square, and you're just gonna do a partial flying geese. You're gonna just sew down that diagonal, trim it and fold it back, and you're gonna make a left hand side one and a right hand side one with the diagonals going different ways. All right, so then it's just a matter of sewing those sections together to create the top quarter. Then you sew that quarter unit to the other quarter unit. All right, so you have a left hand side as you're sewing to the right hand side. Now the pointed part of the star is quite fun to make. You're going to start with this square and this square being the same size. Those are 6.5-inch squares. Let me just double check. Yes, they're 6.5-inch squares. You're just going to lay the one square on top of the other. Let's just do this here. Lay one square on top of the other. You're going to sew the diagonal. You're going to make a right hand and a left hand piece. All right, so you're just going to trim that back and you have your half square triangle. Now you take your next piece, your orange piece. This is the third color, and this is, this is color 2. This is a 4.5-inch square, and you're going to do the same thing, but this time you're just going to line it up in the corner. All right, and you're going to sew on that diagonal. You're going to trim it and sew it down, and gives you these points. Oops, I got it turned here. Let me just spin that around. All right, there you go. Sorry about that, had it backwards. All right, so that gives you this next stripe, and you do the same thing with another 2.5-inch square. Sew on the diagonal, fold it back, press it, and that gives this unit. Quite easily done. Then it's just a matter of cutting your sashing. Again, this is 1.5 inches wide. The second sashing is 2 inches wide and sewn down. Well, that's what it's cut at, so it's going to be 1 inch and then 1.5 inches, and then this is cut at 1.5 inches also. So that gives you some measurements there. Again, cut at 1.5 inches, cut at 2 inches, cut at 1.5 inches again, and then you just sew those borders around. I like to do 2 opposite sides and then the following opposite sides. Doesn't matter, you can start here, then do the top, then sew either way you want to do it. Okay, and then you're just adding the next part. I hope you liked this video. I just was thinking of something for Valentine's Day that wasn't pink and reds, that you could keep up throughout the year if you wanted to. You could make each of the heart blocks a different color if you wanted to. You could do 3 different blues. You could do a yellow, blue, green, and then switch the order of them in the next block. It has a lot of possibilities. Please like and subscribe and come on back. Have a great day. Enjoy your stitching.